I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off of sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Shout out to me. Shout out to my pops. I do this for you, Dad. We're here tonight. Turn this down a little bit. I'm hoping you guys can hear me clearly. It's kind of awkward when I do my show without a microphone, right? Now I'm just using my my webcam mic. I don't care how it sounds. I'm getting my message across. You guys are dealing with it, and we're making it happen. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I realize I'm starting earlier. I think I'm going to start early from now on. We might just do 7 p.m., maybe even 6. You guys can just watch the replays if you can't get here on time. Obviously, it's posted on YouTube. You guys can watch it. Go back after it, and we'll make it happen. Now, I left the ticker from last night. Let me change that. It's not important that George is asking for that retraction. I did that entire video. And let me tell you guys, I did a 2-hour-long video explaining Georgia's demanding of AJC's retraction, and not a single Georgia fan came over here and watched it. Not a single one of them. They stayed in TikTok in an uninformed world, and in short format and 3-minute bursts, they chose not to know the truth. They chose not to know how I feel about the AJC, how I felt about Mr. Judd having a lack of integrity as a journalist. They didn't care. They didn't come over here and watch it. It's insane. I can't even understand how people go through their life not wanting to know the truth. It irks me. What do? Do you go through your life, you're like, nah, I'm not going to look at my bank account today. I don't know how much money's in there, but I don't need to check it. I'm just going to keep guessing. I'm not going to go find out. I'm just going to leave it like that. Let me just keep swiping this card and hope it works out. Is that how you guys live your life? Because apparently you watch my content with that type of reckless mindset where it's like, I don't really need to know how he feels about something. I don't want to know what he thinks. I don't know how he's going about his business. I'm just going to tell you that last time I saw a video from him, I think he's this, I think he's that. You guys are uninformed. But let's get into what's trending. You guys already know how the deal works and how the show works. If you got questions and you got sports questions, if you're on TikTok and you got questions, come over to YouTube, ask me the question. I will answer it. This show is all about interaction. If you guys don't ask me any questions, it'll be a relatively short show. And I don't mind at all. I'll just get back to making content. That's what I'll do. I'm sitting here, I write down ideas. I'm like, oh, I need to make a video on that. That's what I do all night, and then I make the content. But nonetheless, we'll get into what's trending. I'll let you guys drive that train. You'll listen to what I have to say, and then I'll go to the chat and see what you guys have to ask. If there's no questions, show's over. All right, that simple. Nonetheless, let's get into it. What's trending today? Well, I'm about a day late because I didn't do my live stream last night in this regard. But we're going to talk about Pat Fitzgerald one more time. And this time, Pete Thamel, some dude off Twitter, I don't know. But he came out and let everybody know that Pat Fitzgerald has hired a high-profile attorney to take the necessary steps to protect my rights in accordance with the law. Now, here's what Pat Fitzgerald's saying. He's saying, I sat down and had a meeting with the administration. I sat down with Northwestern leadership, the university, and we made a deal. We had a deal. 2-week suspension in July. I missed no recruiting time. I missed no games. And we get back to work. Now, just so we're clear, Pat Fitzgerald makes $4.5 million a year. Maybe more. What did he make? What did he make? I'm sorry. I got to search that real quick. Google Pat Fitzgerald income. Maybe I should have did not income. 5.37 million. 5.37 million. Let me tell you guys, if you lost a job that was paying you 5.37 million, you'd fight for it too. So I'm not mad at the guy for fighting for it, hiring an attorney, going out, through the process. But you got to be kidding me, bruh. You got to be kidding me. I don't see what his deal is. Now, here's his deal. Let me make this clear. I do see what his deal is. He wrote, and his attorney said it through a spokesperson, that the president, there was an agreement down here. The president from up here swooped in and said, that agreement doesn't fly. Unilaterally took apart that agreement and said, you're fired. Now, does the president have the right to do that? I think he has the authority to do it. But there are ramifications for firing somebody not for cause, right? Now, they're saying they fired him for cause. They were very clear on that. They let ESPN know, put this out there, let everybody know we fired him for cause. In other words, we had a reason to fire him. He did something that warranted firing. Now, if it wasn't covered in the contract, then you got to pay the guy. And what's the buyout? Who knows? But he's looking to get one last paycheck before he goes. Probably big enough to never have to work again, obviously. If he's making $5.37 million a year as a coach, and he's been doing this for a long time. He's been a coach for a very long time, guys. He's got so much money, he can't spend it all. And he's been so busy, he couldn't spend it. So, I don't know. Fighting for $5 million sounds pretty ridiculous. If you guys see this right here, I just saw, you can't see this underneath me. Trending. Coach O is trending. Coach O is trending. And what's crazy is I made a video, I posted it, and I said, I think Coach O is prime for this Northwestern job. And I said this, and I made this video about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. And then I said, you know what? Let me search on the internet and see if anybody else is saying this. And apparently, SB Nation posted it 2 hours ago. I didn't know that. So now here I am. Great minds think alike. Shout out to them. 2 hours ago, they said, hey, Coach O, that's what we would put in there. And then when you go to Twitter, they're saying it as well. Now, I'm sure the haters are going to show up and say, Rico, you go to Twitter for your takes. You guys, That couldn't be further from the truth. I got to tell you, that couldn't be further from the truth. But shout out to me. Apparently Diggs is trending as well. Somebody told me Diggs is this. But where's Coach O? He doesn't show up anymore. Coach O. Northwestern, after hearing Coach O's accent for the first time. Oh, they can't understand him. They don't understand. You don't understand him at all. Nobody knows. Imagine this guy and Coach O on the same sideline at Northwestern. I don't know who this guy is. There's some weightlifters. Oh, there he is. There's some dry humpers out there. Look at that man. Do you believe for a second he's not dry humping everything? This guy is dry humping, bro. Come on now. In the dark. Look at these guys. In the dark, they're doing this. No, they're doing this in the light. You can only imagine what they're doing in the dark. I'm just keeping it real. Yeah. Coach O, Northwestern. I'm all for it. I'm not sure I'd ever watch them play, though. I do watch all the games. Let's go back here. Let's talk about the baseball draft. Guys, you know how many rounds there are in the baseball draft? I don't. I just know that it's something, it used to be, I heard a guy once got drafted in the 40th round. They're just going around picking people. How many people play baseball? How many draft prospects do you need, bro? But apparently, DJ Ungalele got drafted in baseball. He got drafted in the 20th round. I didn't know DJ Ungalele played baseball. Okay? I want to make this very clear. Dave Winfield, one of my favorite all-time players, Dave Winfield, outfielder for, when I was a kid, he played for a lot of teams. Padres, Angels, White Sox, whoever. Dave Winfield was drafted in baseball, obviously, football, and basketball. I think Tony Gwynn was drafted in basketball as well. So there's these amazing players that get drafted in multiple sports. DJ Ungalele is not one of those amazing players. He's not an amazing athlete that I've ever seen. And when you start looking at draft picks, remember Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, who else got drafted? Somebody else got, Patrick Mahomes. Jameis Winston. Right? Jameis Winston, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, all drafted. And now DJ Ungalele is part of that prestigious class. Here's what I think's crazy. He could have a really bad year. And if he has a really bad year, he could go undrafted in football, the sport he actually plays. But he was drafted in baseball. Let that set in for you. Like, let that really, I'm going to do that video. I deserve that video right there. I deserve that take all the way around. 20 rounds of Major League Baseball draft, by the way. All right, Steve. Thanks for letting me know, man. It used to be 40. I don't know what the history of the draft is. Remember, football used to be 14, 17 rounds, something crazy in football. And then it went down to like 9 rounds, and now it's 7. But I can remember Ty Detmer got drafted in the 9th round. Gino Torretta got drafted in the 7th round. These are Heisman Trophy winners. But I think Doug Flutie got drafted in the 12th round. I know some dudes in the 70s getting drafted in the 14th round. It's pretty insane. Tom Brady got drafted in baseball too. Shout out to them. There we go. Hey, so I'm going to make a video on this. I owe you guys a video on this. I got beef with this, though. So there's rule changes in the NBA. Rule changes in the NBA, 2 of them. The first one is if you win your first challenge, you earned a second challenge. You can do it any other time after the first. Cool, now you can challenge it twice. Whatever. I don't even watch regular season NBA. 82 games of that nonsense. 82 games of dudes taking the night off. I can't deal with the NBA at all. And the worst part of the NBA is the flopping. Now they do this flopping thing. And they say they will see flopping. Referee will call a flop. It will be considered an unsportsmanlike technical foul. But they won't stop the gameplay for a flop. They will call the flop, go to the monitor, check for the flop at the next stoppage. They can just let them keep playing, and then they'll say, oh, we saw a flop 3 minutes ago, 20 seconds ago. You get a free throw. You get a free throw. Oh, by the way, the guy flopping, he gets a fine. And look at this fine right here. Technical foul fines began at $2,000, and then they're increased. Let me make this clear. What does a basketball player make? Who flops the most? LeBron James? You guys tell me LeBron flops? LeBron James' salary per game. Per game, LeBron makes $550. $142,000. And you're going to fine him $2,000 for a flop. Do I need to tell you how insignificant this is? 10% would be $50,000. 1% is $5,000. 0.5% is $2,500. This is less than 0.5%. You guys got to understand this. This is less than 0.5%. So let's say you make $1,000 a week. For all you simple math people out there. No, this is not pocket change. This is worse than pocket change. $1,000 and you're going to be fined less than 0.5%. So what's 10% of 1,000? $100. What's 1%? $10. $5, bro. $5. If you make $1,000 a month, you're paying $5. That's what's the equivalent of. If you made, or $1,000 a week, I'm sorry. If you made $4,000 a month, it's $5. You think they give a shit about losing $5? I know if I made $1,000 a week and you took away $5 from my $1,000, I'm not going to notice. I wouldn't notice. If it hit my bank account, I wouldn't notice if you paid me $9.95 versus $1,000. I wouldn't notice the difference. They're not going to notice this shit, bro. He makes $11,300 per minute. $135,000 per quarter. And you're talking about a $2,000 fine? It's ridiculous. What it is, guys, this is a ploy to take money from the players and put it towards a fundraiser. If you didn't know what they do with the fines, with the money, they fine the players. They just skim it all off the top and then they give it to a fundraiser. It's a way to build up their fundraising so they can say they're a charitable organization. The money's insane. These guys talking over here on TikTok, they need to come over to YouTube if they want to talk to us. We don't have conversation with people on TikTok. Live streams don't pay me. These do. So if you want to talk, go to the link, come on over, and we'll talk about it. I think it's absurd. Remember that. I think the flopping is absurd. The fact that they reduced it. It used to be $5,000. It used to be $5,000. Now it's $2,000, and then it'll go up, however we do it. It's going to be utilized for 1 year. The rule change, 1 year. Yeah, we can make a big deal out of it. People are going to go, well, Rico, it's a technical foul. Yeah, we know. We know. But it's not a deterrent when they're only charging you $2,000. You think they care about hard fouls? These dudes do hard fouls all the time for technical fouls. They do technical fouls all day long. That doesn't stop them. They do that shit with the game on the line. They don't care. From this last weekend, Dan Hooker won a fight. He won a fight of the night, didn't he? Let's see who won fight of the night. We watched the UFC fights together. UFC fight night. No, UFC bonuses. If you guys didn't know, there's an entire Wikipedia page, so you don't have to debate and figure shit out. Who'd they give the bonuses to? You just scroll down, and here it is. The bonuses from last week. They had the nerve to give Brandon Moreno the bonus. This bum who's never beat anybody. He fought the same guy for 4 years. Gets in there and loses to Pantoja. That's ridiculous. They gave those guys $50,000. Moreno and Pantoja. Now, yeah, they were banging, but I would have just gave it to Pantoja. And you gave Denise Gomes, she did a great knockout. Duplessis, great knockout. Great win beating Robert Whittaker. But what are we talking about? That means we ignored some amazing knockouts from this weekend. Amazing knockout. I'm pissed, bro. Are you kidding me? There was this fight at the beginning by Aguilar here. Jesus Aguilar baptized Shannon Ross with the meanest knockout. What is going on? I couldn't believe it. Simon, knockout, TKO punches. I remember that one. It was phenomenal. They gave it to Gomes instead, huh? You don't give it to Robbie Lawler? Going out, retiring with a knockout, with a TKO? Robbie Lawler, last fight of his life, goes out there and smacks the hell out of Nico Price. No love, bruh. Dan Hooker wins split decision. And for me, Dan Hooker, that was the fight of the night. You know that Dan Hooker won that fight, a split decision, and it came out after the fight. He did break his arm. He has 2 broken bones. He even posted the x-ray on Twitter or Instagram, one of those places. He posted his broken bones. He's got to do surgery. He won the fight with broken arms. If anybody who saw that, come on, man. Come on. Before I get into this, I'm going to go to the chat and then I'll get back over here because I'm about to hit all the college football players, about to hit the transfer portal. So once again, if you're on TikTok and you're watching, all you got to do is come over here and let us know what you think. If you got questions, we got it. Comments, concerns, whatever you want, bring it over here. Just hit the link and I'll answer you. Now let me get over here to the chat and we'll keep it going. All right. Yo, what up, Tri Glasson? Hey, Tri Glasson, good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. Welcome in. Apparently, it's OVO Wednesday. What is OVO Wednesday? What is OVO Wednesday? Is that that's a reference to Drake? Shout out to Drake. I was playing Drake. Okay, maybe that's what I was doing. Please, only one question once. Be respectful, have fun, let's go. Let's get it. Thank you, Steve. Shout out to everybody who's here. Steve says, ignorance is bliss, they say. Yeah, he's making reference to all these Georgia fans who don't want to know the truth, who didn't come over and watch my live stream for 2 hours yesterday while I explained my issue with the AJC and my issue with Georgia University. Somebody goes, well, you just like to believe everything AJC says and you just run with it. Alan Judd is your best friend. Bro, you guys are ignorant as hell. That tells me you didn't watch the video. If you watched anything about my live stream yesterday, the last thing you would say is, oh, Rico supports Alan Judd. Rico supports the AJC. No, I had beef with both sides. Big time. It's ridiculous. Northwestern already, one word. I'm with you. Already has 4 decommitments, sorry guys, in the 2024 class. I already told you guys, I don't care about recruiting. There's decommitments all the time. That's unique. Northwestern lost their head coach. Okay, 4 guys are gone. But there's teams losing, they're having decommitments every day. High school kids are changing their mind every day. Hey, I want to date Susie. Never mind, I want to be with Maria. Never mind, I want to go be with Jessica. No, don't trust any Jessicas. I want to be with Crystal. They change their mind all the day. But I love you, babe. But I love you. But I love you. You think they're not going to change their mind on college teams? Come on now. They're tired of this old white dude. Let me go pick this old white dude. Come on. Shout out to USA's Sepp Kuss, currently in 10th place in the Tour de France. Is that the dude with the polka dot jersey? Is that the dude in the hills that was doing great? Shout out to Eric Gonzalez for bringing it up. But Steve knows. Steve can tell me. Is that the guy that was doing good in the hills? I don't know shit about Tour de France. Y'all gonna have to school me on that. Outside of, I know that we cheated a lot to try to win it. The tribal tattoos were fire in 2004, I'm sure. Kendrick Hamburger. I wouldn't know Kendrick Hamburger. I didn't have any tattoos in 2004. So shout out to you for bringing it up. Cool. Diapers were cool when you're 3. Why are you still wearing them, Kendrick? Why are you still walking around with diapers and wetting the bed? What's going on? Why are you an adult kissing your dad on the lips, Kendrick? What's going on, man? It was cool to hug your cousin. Yeah, we got it, brother. We make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money. Steve, who makes a lot of money and spends a lot of money? I missed that one. What's that in reference to? What were we talking about that has you talking about that? Coach O will land a job. Rico knows. Hey, Eric Gonzalez. If he lands the job, where'd you hear it? Scott Frost to Northwestern. So, I wouldn't put Scott Frost in Northwestern for a couple of reasons. Scott Frost struggled recruiting in the Northwest, recruiting in the Midwest. Scott Frost, his only pipeline to recruiting was Florida. This is why he was so successful at UCF. And then when he got to Nebraska, he couldn't get those Florida kids to come. And he couldn't figure out the damn formula or the recipe to get the kids out of Nebraska. Never tried to get anybody from Texas. So when you go to Chicago, Illinois, Northwestern location, Chicago, Illinois area, what are we doing here? You got to recruit Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana, and you're competing against Michigan, Notre Dame. This is why Northwestern will never get on their feet. All the best players in the area are going elsewhere, plus they're a high academic institution. But there's just no way around it. Northwestern is not a great job. It's going to be difficult if you don't have the right pipeline. or infrastructure to recruit the local high schools, right, and try to convince players to stay in the state of Illinois. But if I can show you guys, before I said I'm going to talk about the transfers, one of the transfers I'm going to talk about tonight, right there, Jaden Francois leaving UCF. Jaden Francois leaving UCF. This is a Scott Frost recruit. This is a kid from Florida, went to Nebraska, right? Scott Frost got him to Nebraska. Brought the Florida kid with him. It didn't work out. After 1 year, he's gone. Goes to UCF. He's been on the bench. He played in 8 games this year, 2 tackles. But he couldn't quite break the starting lineup. There was nothing great about him. So now he's in the transfer portal. And he's entering the transfer portal. He's not a graduate transfer. And it's July. What's he going to do? He's already redshirted before. How does this work? Either he's academically ineligible, he lost his scholarship, or he plans to go down to like Division II. But he's not going to play this year. Not like that. He's going to lose a year of eligibility. But what do you do when you play a whole season and end up with only 2 tackles? But that's the caliber of player that Scott Frost was trying to get to Nebraska, and you can't get kids to leave Florida to go to Nebraska. So how the hell are you going to get kids to go to Northwestern? I don't think he knows how to recruit high academic transfers, high academic players. I'm going to give you guys another name no one's talking about, and that's David Shaw. David Shaw retired from Stanford because he couldn't use the transfer portal. Stanford doesn't let undergraduate transfers in. Now, this year they alleviated some of that to help Troy Taylor. They let Ivy League transfers come in, and then one kid from FIU, Gavin Bernadette. But David Shaw knows how to recruit at a high academic institution. He's been doing it for 10 years, 11 years at Stanford. How about that name nobody's throwing around? David Shaw could go to Northwestern and be successful. He knows how to do that job. I like David Shaw for the job as well. And nobody's saying that name. So if that happens, holy shit, are we going to make an I Am Right video, and we'll come right back here. But I think David Shaw is built for that position way better than a guy like Scott Frost. You're identifying a young coach who didn't quite win, right, blah, blah, blah. No. I think Scott Frost is built for like a group of 5 team where expectations are low and they're just happy that they win. Okay? Maybe Boston College after they fire Helfrey this year. But he's not built for Northwestern. It's a very unique job. It's difficult, and that's why they had Pat Fitzgerald all those years. They didn't want to get rid of Pat Fitzgerald. Remember, he's the best player, essentially the best player in school history, not named Steve Tasker. Shout out to Steve Tasker. But for me, he's one of the greatest players in the history of that school. 2-time All-American, won every award in the world, and then wanted to coach there. And talking about players who want to coach, oh my God, I was supposed to make a video on this. I totally forgot. I'll make it tonight. But Lindsey Scott Jr., the quarterback, Lindsey Scott Jr. started at LSU, transferred to Missouri, transferred from Missouri to a JUCO, went from a JUCO to Nicholls State, went from Nicholls State to UIW last year, Incarnate Word, and then just went in the NFL draft, did not get drafted. But he got drafted in the XFL and the USFL. And then he tried out, who did he try out for? Tampa Bay. Lindsey Scott Jr., I was looking at his Instagram today. He's on the Texas State coaching staff as an offensive analyst. What? Is he going to give up his NFL dream? He's with G.J. Kinney's staff right now. G.J. Kinney was his head coach at UIW. Did G.J. Kinney give him a job as an offensive analyst at Texas State? If that is true, if that happened, oh my God. Is he starting his journey as a coach? I got to write it down. I got to remind myself to make that video. Sorry. It just hit me right now while I'm talking to you guys. I have so much information in my brain, people wouldn't understand how I work as a person. I'm more like a computer, and sometimes it overwhelms me sometimes. I'm like, yo, by the way. All right, so anyways, let me get back. Let me get focused. That Scott Frost thing sent me down this damn rabbit hole all the way to that. Shout out to me, man. I'm dangerous. Shout out to you guys on TikTok watching us. If you want to take part in the conversation, move on over. I can't see shit over here. Just letting you know. Coach O will land a job. Eric Gonzalez knows what's up. He does know what's up. Somebody let me know what's up. Some guys, I would like to be the new Northwestern coach. Oh my God. Shout out to Try Glass and didn't know it was in the chat, brother. Didn't see it. Coach O, David Shaw, Jim Leonard, and Paul Chryst. Now, I don't need to see Paul Chryst. Those other three, hell yes. I like it. Man, I can't believe that. It happens sometimes. I have some of the smartest followers out there. Some of you guys are great, man. Some of you guys are awesome. Jim Leonard's a great selection. If you guys don't know, Jim Leonard was the interim head coach at Wisconsin last year. All the players love him. He's a Wisconsin alumni, a former strong safety. Free safety, strong safety, one of the two. He's just a stud of a player, a lot like Fitzgerald, one of the best players in school history on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody loved Jim Leonard. They were pissed they didn't hire him. Even though they hired Luke Fickell, they were like, no, we don't want Luke Fickell. The players were protesting and saying, we want Jim Leonard. They couldn't believe it. They didn't listen to us. They hired this bum. But then now they're all on board with Coach Fickell. But Jim Leonard's a great selection. David Shaw is the guy for Northwestern. Oh, my God, more people. Holy shit, I didn't see this. I don't look at the chat when I talk. I like to do a blind reaction and get to it when I get to it. Fucking awesome, guys. Coach O going to run through all the northern Chicago bars and show them what Cajun life is all about. They're not going to understand a word he says. I play baseball, Corey Flores. All right, shout out to you, Corey. Boring as hell, bro. I take naps. That's what you just said to me. I take naps. Baseball's more boring than golf to me. I'd rather watch golf than baseball. 20 rounds. Okay, Coach O sounds like he administers the grapefruit technique. I don't know what the grapefruit technique is. Y'all gonna have to teach me that one. So did Danny Ainge. Yeah, we know Danny Ainge. Up until 2019, there were 40 rounds. What's up? I knew that. New bargaining agreement took it to 20. Thank you, Steve, for the Google search. Thank you for the deep dig and knowledge. We appreciate you, brother. 76ers games are going to be 2 times longer for all the time Embiid flops. I would never watch a game where Embiid is the guy. Like, I would never, that's not even for me. You mean LaFlop. LeBron, stop changing his name. His mother gave it to him. Let's not go there. Pocket change. Pocket change. Where are we at? I'm sorry, chat just jumped on me. Chat just jumped on me. Sorry about that, guys. Rico, will you devote any time to the Netflix series Quarterback? Probably not, Steve. I started a show called Suits, and I'm kind of into it. And I'm like on season 2. I don't really care about NFL quarterbacks that I already know the outcomes of the games and what they have to say. I don't give a shit about. Like, the one guy I don't really get excited about is the Cincinnati quarterback. What's his name? What's that guy's name? Exactly. Everybody knows who we're talking about. It doesn't matter. It's just not, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't. Do you want to watch the NFL MVP and what he did behind the scenes? What he did was win games. And what did he yell out? You woke up the wrong motherfucker over and over and over? Somebody sent me the clip. What do I care? Is that how you talk shit, bro? You just repeat the same phrase over and over and over with pads on and a bunch of people around that'll protect you? Is that how you talk smack? You wouldn't make it on my block talking like that. I'm just letting you know. Patrick Mahomes couldn't make it in my neighborhood talking like that because we're going to clear some shit out. Hey, there'll be some furniture moving. Well, let's figure this out. You don't get to talk freely just because you're wearing pads and it's on the field. No, man. What's up? Bust this shit. Just suckers, man. What that dude that knocked out the guy in like 13 seconds didn't get the bonus. Thank you, Steve. Jesus didn't get a bonus. Jesus didn't get a bonus. Jesus got the 13-second knockout. I think it was 17 seconds or 13. One of the two. Did not get a bonus. Taylor Dodd said, LOL, why are you on one? Yo, I'm on one. I don't know. I'm on one. I get rolling and I don't stop. To be fair, I missed the last 3 fights. They were pretty exciting, Steve. They were pretty exciting. Yeah, fight of the night worthy for sure. Dan Hooker's a warrior. Dan Hooker's a warrior. Won that fight. Do you know what his face looked like during that fight? He got a head kick and he still won. It was remarkable. Broken arm and he won. The intro pick. Oh, okay. My intro pick, I don't know what. Oh, the intro pick is like, you know those AI filters that they have on TikTok? It's like a pirate AI. I just took a picture of it and then screenshot it and cut it. I don't know. Definitely don't trust Jessica's. Shout out to Marcus Stewart. I don't know if he knows. My first wife, her name was Jessica. Her name is Jessica. I met her in a cab. I was 20 years old when I met her. Puerto Rican Dominican girl from the Bronx, New York. Right? Talk real New Yorkish. My first wife. We were married 3 months later. We had children. Many. And I don't care how beautiful she is. I don't care how pretty she is. Everybody's always talking about how beautiful my first wife was. You take her, bro. I don't want her. I'm good. I want no part of that. Hard pass. Can't trust Jessica's. But true story. I got a tattoo. I got tattoos, plural, with all my kids' names tattooed on me. Right? That's all my kids' names on me. That's what all this is. And if you go like this, it's like I'm carrying all the names in my arms. Because I got these when they were babies. So it's like this. It's all my kids' names. Rico, Miranda, Sierra, whatever. I also got my wife's name tattooed on me. Jessica. It was on my shoulder. It was way up here. And one day I went in there. I said, hey, man, we need to cover this shit up. And the tattoo artist looked at me and was like, what do you want to do? I said, cover it up, man. Do what you do. I don't care. Just cover it. We were separated. We're getting divorced. I'm like, just cover it, bro. Dude started drawing on me. 8 hours later, I have a whole sleeve of tribal just covering everything. I said, as long as I don't have to see the name, I don't care what you do. Just draw. And he did. And then we reconciled. We got back together. Yep, ex-wife and I got back together. And the second time around, I got her name tattooed again. She said, hey, where's my name? And I said, oh, my bad. So I went and got her name on my heart. It said Jessica. And then it said, mi amor por ti nunca terminó. My love for you never ended. My love for you never ended. Put it in Spanish. Put it over my heart this time. So I got Jessica tattooed on me twice. Young kid doing ridiculous shit. I might have been 26 years old, if I remember correctly. 26 years old. And then, my love for you never ended, right? Nunca terminó. And then it did. Then I really said, I'm done. I really need to get out, man. And I'm really getting a divorce now. So I walked back in there, said, hey, cover this shit up too. Same dude, tribal, went across my chest, at an angle across my chest, and then down my rib cage. All this tribal across my body. And I was good. I don't want no more tattoos. Then I got divorced, went on a cruise. Met a bunch of girls on the cruise. I was out there on the cruise 7 days, Bahamas, Nassau, Freeport. Came out of the Baltimore. I jumped on a cruise ship up in Baltimore, never do it again. And drove all the way down this damn thing. And I'm on the ship. I'm winning the dance contest every night. There's a club every night. I'm winning the dance contest. Killing it. I'm winning Music Jeopardy. Killing it. I'm just having the time of my life. Having a good time. But when we got off at the ship, when we got to those little ports, everything cost too much damn money. And I got money, but I got money because I don't spend money like that. So they were like, are you going to pay for this excursion? Are you going to go do this? I said, nah, bro. I'm going to get off the ship, but I'm just going to post up right here on the beach. I'm just going to lay out and tan. And these girls walked up to me and they said, you're Rico, right? And I was like, yo, what's up? They said, no, we see you on the CCTV on the ship. They're showing, you can watch the dance contest, the hairy chest contest, whatever all these different contests are. You watch them over and over and over. They show them on you get sick of watching them. The girls go, we think your tattoo is hot, but you should make it connect. I was like, what do you mean connect? So I took this tribal that goes up my arm and this tribal that goes across my chest and down my rib cage, and I made them connect by going across my upper back. So it's all one piece that goes around my body like a snake. I was an MMA fighter. It looked cool with my shirt off. I said, let's do it. So that's the story of how I got my tattoos. Now here's the funny thing. Never got another tattoo again. I'm not into tattoos. I think they hurt like crazy. I want nothing to do with tattoos. Never trusted Jessica. Never. Hey, if I meet you and your name is Jessica, I don't want to know you no more. I can't say the name anymore. I don't want no piece of it. Jessica, and then there's another name I hate worse than Jessica. I won't even say that. It's my second wife. Can't say her name either. Don't belong out here. Just letting you know. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Eric Gonzalez. He said no. It's a different guy. Okay, not the guy who won the mountains and the hills. Got you guys. Coach at Northwestern. Make a lot. Spend a lot. Fair enough. Everybody does that, right? If we make a lot, we spend a lot. I get what you're saying now, Steve. I'm with you. Thank you for explaining it. Scott Frost was pressured into taking Nebraska. Forrest Mackey, a lot of people have pride in their alma mater. A lot of guys want to coach at their alma mater. A lot of guys want to coach at their alma mater, and their first opportunity might not be their alma mater. I want to ask you, do you think Coach Prime would take the job at Florida State if it opened up, or would you say he got pressured into the job? Or is he dying to coach at his own alma mater and bringing it back to, some type of notoriety? There are many people in coaching that want to coach back at their alma mater, for sure. It's just a matter of whether or not you get that opportunity. Scott Frost finally got that opportunity after going undefeated at UCF. It wasn't pressure. He wanted that shit. And he got a pay raise. And when you're in the coaching game, the pay raises are significant. It's not an extra $5 an hour. It puts you in a different echelon of wealth. So no, Scott Frost wanted that job, but he didn't know how to succeed at that job. He wasn't ready for that job. He really wasn't. To run that organization from top to bottom, he wasn't ready. He didn't have the right mindset. Northwestern made a big mistake. Forrest Mackey's under the impression that Northwestern made a big mistake. And some people are saying this in my chat. They're like, there was no due diligence or there was no due process. They just jumped to a conclusion and fired the guy. No. When the accusation occurred in November, they did not fire him. They hired an inspector general, an IG, to CYA to cover their ass. They knew they couldn't fire him. They weren't going to do a knee-jerk reaction. There was due diligence. There was due process. There was a 6-month investigation. Where they made their mistake is how they assessed the results of that investigation. Whenever you conclude an investigation, let me tell you guys this, from a military perspective, from a government perspective. I'm a senior leader in the military. We have 15-6s, and that's a commander's inquiry or an inspection. An investigation by an investigating officer. And what we do at the conclusion of those investigations is we give recommendations to the commander, right, to make a final decision, a final determination. Sometimes the investigating officer will say something like, this appears to be gross negligence. This appears to be intentional. This appears to be chronic. This appears to be systemic. Whatever it is. And then the leader, the commander, has to make the decision. Am I going to punish this person or let it slide? And then there's an appeals process. But more importantly, the commander needs to say, am I going to take this recommendation or not? So when you hear there was an investigation by the IG, 100% the findings of that investigation include a recommendation. And whatever that recommendation was, and I'm going to assume the recommendation was to create a reporting procedure, i.e. create a link on the website so anybody who's a victim of hazing can go report it. That's number one, because the school did that. Number two, educating the football team on the ramifications of hazing, right, and misconduct. Educating the coaching staff on expectations of conduct. Like, all that goes into the recommendations. But that last part, what did they want to do? What did the commander want to do? Now, instead of a commander, let's go athletic director, school president, some type of authority within the administration, whoever's in charge of Pat Fitzgerald, because somebody's always your boss. Somebody's in charge of everybody. That recommendation is what they agreed upon, what they put on the sign and dotted line. But your appeal process, if there's an appeal process, there's always somebody out there who can just come in and go, no, this doesn't fly. And they could alienate everybody. They could fire everybody. Happens all the time in the military. Oh my goodness. There are subordinate leaders making decisions down here autonomously. Right? Decentralized leadership is what's important, right? You have to trust all your different departments to run from their leadership. You don't need to be in charge of them all. The school president isn't in the weeds in every single department. But the minute something occurs way down here and they go to the media, and now it comes through from the top down, if we're getting information from the top down, we're in trouble. Everything needs to be coming from the bottom up. In other words, this president probably got blindsided, didn't know that there was a 2-week suspension going down for hazing, didn't know all the details. Everybody beneath him knew, and he came in and said, no, this doesn't fly. You're out of here. Talked to the victim, interviewed the victim. He talked to the victim. Said, okay. And the victim even went out and said on the newspaper, he said, the president seemed to be very receptive to my information. Now, there's a rumor over who the player is. I don't report rumors. But there is a rumor on who the player is. I know the player's name. I know that the player's in the transfer portal, and he's already at a new school. So I'm very familiar with the player because he hit the transfer portal. I think he was at the school for 3 years, 4 years really, but definitely for 3 years on the football team. He redshirted his first year. Didn't play much. This is a perennial backup. not somebody you see in the 2 deep at all. And it's just a shame that they're either going to try to smear his name and discredit him because they're saying this isn't true. But I think it's very true. I think it's very true. The coach isn't saying it wasn't true. The coach is saying we agreed upon a 2-week suspension and now you fired me. He's not in the media saying this didn't happen. He's not in the media saying I didn't know about it. He's not doing any of that. He's not protesting his innocence. What he's protesting is we agreed on this amount of punishment and then that guy in charge went in here and crushed me and threw out an agreement. Once again, guys, careful when you listen to what someone is, advocating for, what someone is arguing for. It's just like Georgia. Georgia's not saying they don't support players who abuse women, because that's what the newspaper said. Georgia's retracting, asking for a retraction, because the newspaper said it's 11 guys, and Georgia says you only named 3. Give us the list of the 11 or take it back. They're not saying it didn't happen, because you cannot say it didn't happen. It did happen. There are players who were not kicked off the team after being accused of abusing women. There are players who remained on the team in the locker room or in good standing so they could transfer and get to a new school with a clean slate. There are certain players that they supported collectively and allowed 10, 11 players, over a dozen players to go to the courthouse and speak on his behalf. So Georgia's arguing, well, we didn't have 11 guys who did it, like you said. It's only 3. They're not saying they're not guilty. They're just saying you exaggerated. You fabricated. Northwestern, Pat Fitzgerald's not ever saying he didn't know about it. He did that initially. Now he's going, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't deny that I didn't know about it because this is going to be bad. There's pictures of the whiteboard. There's witnesses. This is going to be bad. So now he's just going, well, we agreed to 2 weeks and you guys didn't keep your promise, so I want my money. That, to me, you're still a piece of shit person, bro. You're still a problem. Just keeping it real. So, just keeping it real. Back to the chat. I apologize, guys. Nelson Paulus, still in the polka dot jersey, American. Okay, we're talking about Tour de France. I know nothing about it. These guys do. Cuss is a domestic for Jumbo Visma, also American, and great in the mountains. Just a different role. Cool, Steve. I don't mess with it, bruh. Good call on David Shaw. Yeah, good call to everybody. Would love to see Scott Frost at BC. Yeah, me too. That'd be kind of cool. Although it's mainly focused on the scandals within the Russian track team. I don't know where that came from. That just came out of nowhere. Although it's mainly focused on the scandals within the Russian track team. What are you talking about? I came from TikTok, Rico. Hey, what up, Taylor Dodd? Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you. Anybody coming over from TikTok, we do appreciate you guys. Thanks for being in the show. Thanks for watching us. Our live streams, we have a good time. And we talk about whatever's trending that day, and I answer all your questions. So I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Shout out to you. Jim Leonard not going to Northwestern. He's going to go to the NFL before that. Well, Marcus Stewart, the NFL is not paying $5 million. Not for Jim Leonard. But you be a head coach. I'm just saying. You be a head coach for a lot less, or you can get paid. Do you think Fitzgerald will get another coaching job someday? Yes, I do, Squints. Yes, I do. I think he's young enough and good enough to get a job someday. Most definitely. Especially when you have people who are empathizers, who are okay with it. Think about the guys who have jobs right now. Guys like Coach Freeze. Guys like Petrino. Hell, Rick Pitino got a job back too. Rick Pitino, Bobby Petrino. There are some people with jobs. Sark was drunk on a plane, bro. Sark was drunk. These guys have jobs right now. They hire people all the time with problems. They hire them. Yeah, he'll work again. He'll work again. Just saying. LMAO, they wouldn't know what he's saying. I'm just saying, Eric Gonzalez, nobody knows what Coach O's saying. Suits, you ain't ready for Suits, one of the best shows ever. Rayford, I've never, Tanjo Rayford, hey, I have never seen Suits. I've heard about it, right? I decided I'm going to start season 1, go slow, and ingest everything. I am those 2 attorneys all rolled into one. I'm a genius. I memorize things that I read, and I see it, and I can just retain everything, and then I can just get shit done in the room. I'm Don Draper. I'm that guy. I can just make shit happen. It's incredible. I'm looking at it going, oh, they're talking about me. This is me. Both these guys are me. Who wrote this show? They must have met me and wrote about me. Because in real life, that's who I am. I make shit happen. Is TCU just one and done team? So, K-Dub, I like Sonny a lot as a coach. I don't think TCU's one and done. I think it comes in cycles. So you got to let your recruiting class get up there and become impactful. TCU peaked last year because they had 8 draft picks. Because they had 8 players capable to make it in the NFL. When you have 8 pros, you're going to be pretty damn good. And it's a down year for Oklahoma last year. That helps as well. So winning in the second half of those games and pulling it out the way they did, that's a very good year. I don't see TCU having a very good year next year. I'm one of the few people in this world telling you TCU is not a top 25 team. Because I've studied the roster. Because I study everybody's rosters. And I go, oh, no, I don't think TCU's in the top 5 teams in the Big 12. I think Texas is better. K-State is better. Texas Tech is better. I think Oklahoma's better. I think TCU is very comparable to Oklahoma State. And if you guys didn't know what's happening right now, Ash is humping my arm as we speak. That's why she gets on the screen, comes, gives my arm some love, and then she goes away. So shout out to her. Damn, 3 months. Yep, got married after 3 months. Like I said, she's fine as hell. I had never met a Puerto Rican, Dominican from the Bronx, New York in my life. Straight up J-Lo, right? I'm a Mexican-American man. I'm Mexican. I'm from Southern California. We don't even have Puerto Ricans and Dominicans in California. Everybody I ever met that spoke Spanish was Mexican. So when I met this girl in a cab and she spoke Spanish and she wasn't Mexican, she was Dominican and Puerto Rican, I was like, man, what is this? This is something different, bro. She's like, oh, I'm from the islands, blah, blah, blah. My parents are from here. I'm like, oh, okay. I like this. Yep. And that's how that worked out. Married 3 months later. Married for 10 years. I wish that on nobody. Jessica's a dangerous for real. There you go, Marcus Stewart. I agree. My ex was a Jessica, took me for everything. No, Jessica's how it's so true. You know, Forrest Mackey, my ex-wife took me for a whole lot, bruh. I'm not going to say everything because I'm right here. I'm good. But she took me for a whole lot. Let's keep it real. Get Tiger Lee and Tiger Lee Jr. tatted on you. Shout out to Jeremy. If you guys don't know Jeremy, that's a grown man today, but I met him playing video games back when he was a middle schooler. So I don't know how old I was. We met on Xbox Live. I think we were playing Halo 2 together. He was a young kid, maybe 13, 14 years old. He was one of our snipers, him and his brother. And shout out to Jeremy. I think he lives out here in Georgia. Huge MMA fan, knows a lot about MMA. But he and I go way back. So shout out that reference right there. He's saying we're his kids. He's my kid. He and his brother are my kids. That's cool. I appreciate you, Jeremy. Good to see you, brother. Tell Carl I said what's up. Love watching you, Rico. Nothing but good conversations. Hey, Stuart, that's what we're here for, Marcus. That's how we get down every night. I wish people understood the real me and what we do. But it is what it is. Love watching you. So, the name Jessica is Poison. Hey, don't do it to your daughters. You got daughters, don't name them. Don't name them Jessica. That's all I'm saying. Let's go back here. Gotta go get an MRI. Y'all behave in the chat. Thanks. All right, Steve. Good luck on that MRI. Hey, if you guys haven't had an MRI before, I've had many in my life. It's just loud, noisy shit. You just lay down and don't move, right? Or whatever they're doing, whatever part of their body they're checking you on. I went to NU. Okay. He was the best thing to happen to NU football, and now the worst thing to happen to NU football. Couldn't let old habits die. Yeah, Rayford, that's exactly what it is, man. It's not understanding that certain things need to evolve and never show their face again. That's all it is. Certain things need to evolve and never be there anymore. Any insight on what Demario Tolan is going through? Green Creole, what's he going through? Hold on. Give me a second, guys. Is Demario Tolan going through something? Demario Tolan, by the way, transfer from LSU to Auburn. Damn. No longer with the team. That's a damn shame. I got to make a video on it, unfortunately. I don't want to capitalize on any player's turmoil, but this is a transfer portal issue. If you guys didn't know, DeMar Tolan, true freshman last year at LSU, and the only reason no one's talking about him is Harold Perkins is so damn great. But DeMar Tolan's pretty damn good. I'd imagine he was going to be better than some of the linebackers at Auburn, but you get there and you think you're going to be the starter, and it's like all these kids don't understand. These coaches got a job. They're going to keep recruiting more and more players ahead of you. They don't care if you're on the roster or not. They're going to keep getting more and more. Competition? No, they're just going to keep finding better players. And I think he might have been buried. I don't know. But then there could be behavioral health issues. I miss home issues, whatever it is. I'm going to have to dig, man. I'm going to have to dig. Thanks for bringing it to my attention, Green Creo. I can't check the news all day, but that's unfortunate, man. Breaking news. Shit. And you know what's crazy? DeMar Tolan, I want to check something real quick for you guys. I have a top 50, I'll show you guys. So I have top 50 players in the transfer portal. And there's DeMar Tolan. Top 50 most impactful transfers. I'm making videos on them. I've made videos on everybody highlighted. Top 50 most impactful transfers, and one of the guys on my list is DeMar Tolan. Now, he was honorable mention, but that's how highly I think of this young man. So just to be clear, sucks. Not on the team anymore. And there's another one, Robert Rocket Rahimi from Liberty, jumped in the portal. He was supposed to go to SMU with all his teammates. His defensive coordinator, Scott, is moved over there. And I checked the roster, 2023 spring roster. Robert Rahimi, he never enrolled at SMU. He never went. I don't know where he's at. 5 interceptions last year. Not there. Damn. Young man, man. You only live one life, guys. You only live one life. You only have so many years of eligibility. I hope the best for him. That sucks. That sucks. Oh, man, that just threw me off, bro. Thanks. It just threw me off. All right. Back to the chat. Bro, Kitna went to the University of Florida, not Florida University, for the love of all things Gators. Carl Thomas, for the love of all things Rico, I put one intentional error in every video on purpose to increase engagement, to get comments. So when I say Florida University, it's for every single Gator fan out there to write in the comments and go, UF, 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 UF. And you took the bait, bruh. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the bait. You increased my numbers. That's clickbait right there. That's how I do it. I put one error in every video. It's a pretty ingenious idea. And it increases the comment count. It increases the view count. It increases the duration in which you watch my videos. All things that get me paid. If you didn't know, TikTok pays me by my view count and the duration in which you watch it. It's called an RPM, or a rate per minute, rate per mile. So shout out to you for being here to write that. Thanks for coming over to YouTube and doing it as well. That's some extra money. I'm out here. Hey, I'm cooking now, bro. I can get cheese on my burger. I appreciate you, dude. I might even, you keep it up, Carl Thomas. I might go on a date. I might take a girl out and start, I might start tricking, bro. I might go out there. I'm gonna get something off the menu. Oh, hey, y'all got lobster? Y'all got lobster? I'm just letting you know. Some guy named Carl Thomas keeps writing to me. He's written, this is your third comment. Carl, you don't think I saw it the first time? Carl, I saw you write it. On the Kitna video, I saw you write it. And I ignored you. Because I was happy you wrote it. But now you're here. You're not educating me on shit, bro. It's important. It's important you guys understand I have a marketing strategy. That's what you got to understand. There's a marketing strategy involved. I did not accidentally, wake up one day and go, yo, I think I want to become a sports journalist on TikTok and YouTube. I want to do this for a living, make money. I don't know how to do it, bro. I'm just going to start talking and hope it works out. That is not what happened. No, I am calculated. I know my approach. Yep. And you're living proof. Shout out to you, brother. What's good, bro? What up, good? What's up, Can Man? What do you think of David Shaw's tenure at Stanford? Do you think he would take the Northwestern job? I have to, money talks. Varinks, good to see you, brother. Money talks. You take the job if they pay you enough. I think David Shaw's tenure at Stanford was great. The only thing frustrating for him is he cannot get transfers. You can do that at Northwestern. The bar's a little lower to get people in than Stanford, but not by much. But David Shaw saw USC go from 4-12 to win the whole damn conference or play in the conference championship 1 year later, that frustrated the hell out of him. And that's why he resigned. That's real. He just said, oh, what the hell? That team in the South is able to reload like this? This is crazy. I'm out of here. I'm not doing this shit again. So, LMAO, this message must not have posted. This was before the Russian track team part. Oh, there was no message before. You keep writing a message and it's getting filtered out because you're saying something that you shouldn't say. Didn't see the beginning of the stream. Glad you talked about Shaw. There it is. If you ever show up late to one of my live streams, guys, all you have to do, start it from the beginning, but put it at 1.25 speed. Put it at 1.5 speed. You can hit the little cogwheel, change it to 1.25 speed, and you'll catch up. And then eventually you'll catch up to us and you'll be back on the live and you won't miss a single thing. Or you can rewatch it when we're done. I appreciate you guys rewatching it. That'd be cool. You need to see Lincoln Lawyer, similar to Suits, Mexican-American lawyer doing his thing. Yeah, I actually don't like Lincoln Lawyer. I don't. I think it's kind of corny. But just because of the movie and then the show and the fact that they're trying to give me this dude who's like authentic, I'm good. But I appreciate the recommendation. That's why I don't give recommendations to anybody. If you could take over and coach any team this year based on the roster, who would it be? For ranks, if I could take over a roster and coach a team, who would it be? Clemson, and Clemson again. You're poised to win the conference, period. And you have Cade Klubnik, who I think is an amazing quarterback. I like Clemson a lot. I would coach Clemson if I could. I think it's a good program. Yeah, and I want to see Peter Woods up close and personal. Peter Woods, defensive tackle, true freshman, going to start. Best defensive lineman probably in the ACC. And he's never played it down yet. True freshman. Yeah, Peter Woods. I want to see him up front. Every Mexican-American man has fallen for a woman from other Spanish-speaking countries. Omar Sotelo. It's because they don't look like our little Oompa Loompas, man. It's because they don't grow up to look like lunch pails, bro. We like the ones with curves and don't come out and looking like swollen Mexicans. I'm good. Later, Steve. Shout out to you, brother. Gabe Walker, message deleted by Kim. Thank you, Kim, for cleaning that up. Do you know about Mega Barnwell? Played in my area, and he was committed to Penn State for the longest, and then he just entered the transfer portal before his true freshman season even started. So I'll have to look into Mega Barnwell. Once again, I don't pay attention to players until they hit the transfer portal. I didn't see Mega in there, and or until they make the 2 deep. I don't get excited about recruits. They're not even in the 2 deep. They're not going to play this year. Literally 99% of them. I took the bait. Brilliant. Thank you, Carl Thomas. I'm pretty brilliant. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. It's okay, Carl. Man, I set my alarm for 7:59 because I thought the joint started at 8. This is true. It usually starts at 8. I want to start doing it a little earlier so we're not in here all night and I can do other things. So sorry about switching the time on you guys. Maybe we're going to go 7 p.m. Eastern, possibly 6 sometimes. All depends on what I'm doing that day. You guys will still be able to watch it. You just rewind it, start it over, watch it on your own time. I apologize, though. But I know some of you guys want to be a part of the show, ask your questions, and be in it. That's on me, bro. That's on me. Could you take Clemson to the Natty? Yeah. Yeah, I can take Clemson to the Natty. Come on now. Matt Parker, all I got to do is win the conference, go undefeated, and get an invite. I can take him to the Natty. I'm Rico, bro. I ain't Dabo. I got more swag than Dabo. I dance better than him. I look better than him. Come on now. I'm Rico. All right. Let's get back to this. We'll get back to the chat once you guys get there. Let me get back to talking about the transfer portal. Let's go. So, Zion Magale is the last guy from Colorado to finally sign. He commits to Northern Arizona. Look, this is a kid. He's like a 6'3", 6'2" linebacker. I have him right here. 6'2", 230-pound linebacker. Look, in high school, undefeated 2 years in a row. He played ball at Chaparral in Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona. Kenny Dillingham's old school, but it wasn't when Kenny was there. But nonetheless, Zion, linebacker. This guy's not built for football, though. I just want to give you guys a tip. He wants to be a chef. His goal in life is to be a chef. He ain't talking about the NFL. He ain't talking about being a pro. That's why he had to leave Colorado, and you go to Northern Arizona. Now go to NAU. No disrespect. Great. Good luck. Great job. But my question to you guys is, how many players now from Colorado that Coach Prime got rid of went the FCS route or the Group of 5 route. I only counted about a dozen that made it on Power 5 schools, and one was a preferred walk-on. This is a guy who played, I think he only dressed for 5 games last year. Didn't even play. Just put on a uniform 5 times. Totally redshirted. A former 3-star kid. No, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying. I think Coach Prime was onto something when he got rid of a lot of players that were at his program that probably didn't belong there. So shout out to him for doing what he does. But he's gone now. Okay. Looking at the transfer portal, some of the other names I want to talk about that are here. One that's pretty important. I've already talked about Elijah Bean. I've already talked about everybody way over here. I've talked about all these guys. We're waiting to see where Bradley Rosner ends up. That's the kid who just left Rice, 6'5", 210 pounds, scored 10 touchdowns last year. He was my number 10 ranked wide receiver in the Group of 5. Remember, I did top 10 wide receivers in the Group of 5. He was number 10, and I couldn't believe he hit the portal because I thought he was pairing up with JT Daniels. But apparently he wants to go get paid and work on his pro pedigree, so he's going to go to a bigger school, I'm sure of it, or he's going to get with a better quarterback, hopefully, at UTSA. But we'll see where he ends up. I'm just praying he goes to UTSA. Maybe he goes somewhere else. I don't pray. Come on now. All right, I want to talk about B.J. Harris, though. B.J. Harris leaving Missouri, going to Central Michigan. Why is this important? Well, number one, do you know who coaches at Central Michigan? Jim McElwain, former Florida head coach. Jim McElwain, former SEC head coach. He actually coaches up at Central Michigan. And what's significant about that is you guys don't know, but Rico knows. Hey, you guys don't know, but Lou Nichols got drafted in the NFL draft. The starting running back from Central Michigan got drafted in the NFL draft. Not a lot of people know that. Lou Nichols III, only 600 yards rushing, only a 3.5 yard average, 3.5 yards a carry. It looks atrocious. How would this guy get drafted? He only had 3.5 yards a carry and 600 yards. Well, they couldn't throw the ball. Daniel Richardson, he actually transferred to FAU. He's going to be the backup quarterback. It's another funny story. I'll talk about it after this. But Lou Nichols, if you really go back, though, to 2021, Lou Nichols should have went pro because he rushed for 1,800 yards, and no one was talking about it. 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, that's what got him drafted. So last year he was terrible. They didn't care. They still drafted him. And a guy like Keaton Mitchell from East Carolina didn't even get drafted. Lou Nichols got drafted. So when you have a school that gets players drafted, you're going to get transfers, right? So that's why you see a guy leaving the SEC and heading to Central Michigan. Firstly, he couldn't even play. He was third string. He wasn't playing much at Missouri, okay? But he's going to Central Michigan. He's got a shot there. He's going to be somebody. So you got a chance to be on the starting roster. Now, let me say this. The starting quarterback, what the heck just happened? The starting quarterback at Central Michigan was Daniel Richardson. And he actually played pretty decent. They just couldn't move the ball. But 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, not a bad ratio. 3-1. 3-1 touchdown interception ratio. I like it. But that completion percentage is Anthony Richardson status. That's not a good completion percentage. Okay? And I know it's a black quarterback. So you might think Daniel Richardson's a dual threat quarterback. No. He's a pocket passing quarterback. Matter of fact, on the season, rushed for negative 55 yards. This guy, there's nothing fancy about this dude. Okay? Daniel Richardson hits the transfer portal in the winter, and he goes to FAU. Commits to Herman, right? Coach Herman down there at FAU. And he's like, yo, I'm going to go be the starting quarterback. No, you're not. They just got Casey to come in. Transferred out of Nebraska. He's getting his old quarterback back. So poor Daniel Richardson, you were the starting quarterback at Central Michigan, and then you're overly aggressive, dumb, greedy, whatever you want to call it, you're not going to start. You just transferred to a school. You thought you were going to start. Now you're going to be the backup because that school went and got another quarterback in the spring. They saw Daniel Richardson in the spring. And Herman said, nah, this ain't it, guys. I got the wrong quarterback. He can't start for me. I know he was starting up there, but he ain't starting down here. They got another JUCO quarterback. Forgetting his name, but his dad once jumped in my chat to talk to me about him. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know your son. And he was like, you know my son? I said, yeah, he went to JUCO. He's like, what the hell? I said, yeah, dude, I know. Rico knows. Get over it. Anyway, so shout out to my man here, BJ Harris, for jumping in the portal. Now, I already talked about Jaden Francois in the portal. I already talked to you guys about him. Jalen Kitna's in the portal. How do I feel about Jalen Kitna? I feel like he should get a chance. He was charged with breach of peace. So was Alvin Kamara. It's the same charge. There's nothing else to it. I think Jalen Kitna is going to get a chance. But if he wants to play this year, he's got to go to Division II. But he's a good quarterback, guys. He's better than any quarterback on Florida right now. He's better than any quarterback on Florida. But who wants to touch him? Who wants to take that on? Who wants to take that scandal and get him a scholarship offer? I think a Division II does it for sure. If you guys don't believe me, West Florida took the white kid who said the N-word, right? They were like, yo, we'll take him. We'll take Marcus. It's not Marcus, but I'm with you. I always say Marcus Banks. Basketball player. All right. So, but shout out to them. That's the updates in the transfer portal. That's all there is there. Let me see what I had over here. I was just looking up LeBron stuff. I'm going to leave DeMario up. All right. So before we end the show, though, let me go back to chat and see what you guys got to say. I'll answer all your questions, and we'll go from there. Oh, man, that was on autoplay. I was about to go crazy. Give me a second. No, I don't even need to hit back. We're good. All right, let me go to chat and see what happens. Do you know Rashad Phillips? Yes. No, it's not your fault. I'll just watch it back. Okay. Okay, everyone, have a good night. Yes, I know Rashad Phillips. How do you think the new Big 12 schools are going to do in track this upcoming season? Who do you think will transition the best? Well, Verenx, when it comes to the new schools coming to Big 12 for track, the biggest issue in track is the transfer portal. So there's going to be a ton of transfers in track. When I got to this season of the track season, I did not recognize certain teams at the start of the track season because they got so many transfers. And I don't follow the transfer portal for track athletes. And I'm going to have to. So I can't give you an accurate assessment because they're all going to get a bunch of guys. And I didn't realize it until I was watching track meets this year. And I was like, that guy runs at A&M now? Huh, what just happened? And it was just so many transfers. Same thing happened in basketball. I was like, wait, where's that? Why is he here? You know, an all-conference guy from a no-name conference transferred into a major team to be a role player. Like, that threw me off completely. It happened everywhere. So I'm prepared for track to have a ton of transfers, and I won't know the right answer to that until maybe later in the season. Is there any FCS teams that you follow like you do FBS ones? So, Connor, no. There are no FCS teams that I follow like FBS teams. None. But there are FCS teams that I'm pulling for next season that I hope win because I made some predictions about FCS teams winning games. I think Southern Illinois, right, the Salukis, I think Southern Illinois is going to beat Northern Illinois. I'm hoping that happens because I predicted it. I think Florida A&M has a shot to beat South Florida. I'm hoping, and I think they might win the SWAC. I'm excited about that. There are FCS teams that I follow, but not like you would imagine. No, I cannot sit there and recite the entire starting lineup on those teams, their depth charts, their head coaches, their coaches, none of that. I can do that for every FBS team, but I can't do that on FCS teams. Nope, my expertise is right there. It stops. The only reason I even watch FCS, outside of the playoffs, because I watch the playoffs in the FCS level, for sure. Watch the playoffs. But the only reason I would go to those teams and know the players is because one of their teammates went into the transfer portal. And that had me go, okay, I want to learn about this player. And so I went to go watch the tape, and then I noticed other players on the tape. Oh, it's crazy. North Carolina A&T, all these players on tape. I'm like, yo, who is this? 2 linebackers, both to the FBS level. Byshaw Tutton to Tootin to Virginia Tech. All the tape looks great at North Carolina A&T. Real talk. So that's how I do it. Dang, I'm too late. You're not too late, Ray. We're still answering questions. We got 3 comments left. If you guys don't ask me no questions, the show's over. You're not too late. Rico, does it ever get old handing these trolls L's that try to test you on TikTok? Vince, no, because I get paid every single time, right? I'm getting paid for every video. So it doesn't get old. If anything, I'm a subject matter expert at this point. I know what you're going to say. I know what I need to say to crush it. Now, oftentimes I will ignore a guy because he's just crying for attention. The trolls want to be acknowledged, right? If I acknowledge them, it validates them, and they keep coming back every single day. Like today, a troll said to me, he wrote, quote unquote, original content. In other words, he's saying I stole this content from somewhere. I didn't steal it from anywhere. He just wrote that to get a rise out of me. So I make a video and say, oh, my content's original. What are you talking about? But I didn't go there. I left it alone. So it's a little frustrating. These kids, it's the summer, man. These kids don't have school. It's the summer. They're very childish. They're young. And they're just spamming me all day long, a bunch of hateful messages. But they don't understand. I get paid off of all those messages. One guy wrote, I was getting my haircut the other day. 2 days ago, I was getting my haircut. And my barber, or was it yesterday? My barber says, oh, how do you feel about the trolls and the haters? And I said, they don't understand. I make money off them. I make more money off them. This guy took that comment and wrote underneath one of my videos, this guy was bragging about how he makes more money than his followers. No. I was saying I make money off of the haters. But you took it out of context and tried to make me sound like an arrogant asshole. That's what it is. I don't have to brag about it. Either be about it, know about it. My income is on the wall somewhere. You can look it up. I'm an E8 in the Army over 20 years. Look that up. Look up my BAH, my BAS. Look that up. And then try to figure out how much I make off of YouTube and TikTok. Do the math. It's somewhere in the $10,000 to $12,000 a month range. Hate. Just hate on me, bro. It's a tough life I'm living. I'm telling you, it's a tough life I'm living. Marcus Banks was traded for Shaq. Word. Hey, there we go. Do you plan on doing prediction game reviews during the upcoming season? Very much so, Walker Colt. I'm going to keep a running tab on my predictions and my winning percentage. And we're hoping we stay above 500, right? So, yeah, I'm definitely doing that. Who was the worst head coach hire in the FBS this cycle? Try Glasson. So I have a chart. And remember, my chart has them in order by... This is the new coaching hires. I'll show you guys. So here's the new coaching hires, the order I have them in. If they're highlighted, I've already made a video on them. But if I was assessing the worst new coaching hire out of all of these, I want to say Tim Beck's the worst. Tim Beck at Carolina. Now, I have him 6th on the roster, but it's a complete F to me. So he is coming over from North Carolina State. And for me, there's nothing great about Tim Beck. He didn't do anything great at North Carolina State, but he's going to have a decent season this year because he has Grayson McCall at quarterback. Because he inherited a great team by Jamie Chadwell, right? But for me, I don't like the Tim Beck hire at all. Now, I also have a problem with Kenny Burns hire. I think it's not very good. I don't like the Brian Newberry hire at Navy. I just don't think they should have fired their coach, Ken N. I can't say his name. Noah Tolu or whatever his name is, the guy who runs the triple option. But Brian Newberry is the defensive coordinator. It just seems like you pushed one guy out to take this other guy. It looked like he was trying to get his job behind his back. A little weasel, that type of shit. So, But for me, Tim Beck, the head coach at Coastal Carolina, I don't think it's a good hire. I think they hired him because he knows the area, because he's familiar with it, and the worst part, they didn't know they were going to have to hire a coach. That's the worst part. Anytime your coach left you without being fired, you didn't get a good replacement. Only one team did. Only one team got a good replacement when their coach left, and that's Louisville. Such a rarity. Your coach leaves without you firing him. You didn't know he was leaving, so you didn't find a good replacement. Right? Think about it. Cincinnati, Scott Satterfield's the replacement. He's not great. He's not better than Fickle, right? You start looking at every single team who had to replace somebody who left, and it never goes well because you didn't know that coach was leaving. Now, when you fired a coach, Colorado, you hire a good coach, Arizona State. When you have time to look into who you want to hire, it's because you fired the guy before you, and you had time to go look. But Kent State didn't know it was coming. Sean Lewis up and leaves, goes to Colorado to be the offensive coordinator. He just resigned out of nowhere. They're like, oh, shit. Caught with your pants hanging down. You're like, oh, what do we do? Hey, hire that guy. Hey, he's from the MAC. Hire that guy. No, he's not. They go, well, he had experience. Kenny Burns, he's got experience at Western Michigan with P.J. Fleck, and he's been the running backs coach at Minnesota. He knows the MAC area. It's like, no, dude, he was at Western Michigan for 1 year. And at Minnesota, dude, how hard is it to look like a good coach when you got Mo Ibrahim as your running back? You got damn workhorse right there. You just keep giving him the rock. What did you teach that man? Did you get him drafted? I'm asking for a friend. Did you get him drafted? I don't understand the Kenny Burns hire at Kent State, but I understand that they had to scramble because they didn't expect to lose their coach, and they did. So all the teams who lost their coach and they weren't planning on losing it, the replacements were not good. And I think that's the case at Coastal Carolina. They didn't know Jamie Chadwell was going to leave for Liberty and get an enormous, like a $2 or $3 million raise. He left, I think it's a $2 million raise. I have it on my chart. I minimized it because I don't want you guys memorizing my chart or hitting pause and reading it all. But because then my videos don't make any sense. But I think I wrote it in here. Jamie Chadwell. No, I did not. I'll probably look it up before I make the video. But I know he got an insane raise. Coastal Carolina didn't know they were losing their coach. So they hired the guy down the street. And I don't think Beck's very good, personally. But he brought in a decent offensive coordinator. His offensive coordinator is the former head coach at South Florida. So at least he brought somebody in with some head coach experience, but he's the coordinator. It's just a bunch of dudes out hanging out, bro. I don't know. Could you talk about the LeBron hype? How big was it coming into the draft? Connor, it was big, man. They said he was the greatest thing ever. It was big. That's all I can tell you. At that moment in time, 2003, I was a sports writer. So it was an everyday thing for me at work. Going to the newspaper, talking about it. We followed LeBron and Carmelo Anthony like you wouldn't believe, because Carmelo Anthony was at Syracuse. And the year before that, Carmelo Anthony was a senior, LeBron was a junior. And they played against each other. And that was on ESPN, and everybody talked about it because they both balled out. And everybody was like, man, that Carmelo is nice. Well, LeBron is nice. Well, Carmelo is nice. And they're just doing this whole thing back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, the hype was similar to O.J. Mayo, so whatever that is. I still can't get over the guy who tried to say nobody contacts you, and then you brought the receipts. Vince, I love it, man. And you know what's crazy? Is I left out some receipts. Obviously, I only picked a few, a handful. I leave out a ton because some players talk to me in confidence, and they don't want anyone to know. They'll ask me questions like, well, hey, this coach just told me he's going to make me a safety. Do you believe him? Do you do this? And I'll be like, oh, you went on a recruiting visit here and he told you you're going to be a safety? Well, let me tell you, the last 3 guys he recruited as wide receivers, he turned 2 of them into safeties. He loves recruiting wide receivers to make them safeties, but he doesn't get a whole lot of safeties. He just goes and gets receivers and makes them safeties. And I have talks with players about their coaches recruiting them and their tendencies and what they do with these players. It's a broken promise. Oh, well, he told me they're going to do this. They're waiting on this. No. They're waiting on that. Let me tell you this. They set an offer over here, so that means they don't even want you. You're a third option. I do a lot of that assessing for players. They reach out to me and ask me. I even have NFL agents. NFL agents have written me DMs personally and said, Rico, can you please assess my player? Where do you think he's going to get drafted? At what echelon? Or should we be trying out for the XFL and the USFL? As a matter of fact, I made a video about how to make it in the XFL and go try out for showcases because that agent asked me, what's the process to get my guy in the XFL? I've never done this one before. It's an attorney/agent. True story. That's why I made that video. I wish people understood what really goes on behind the scenes in regards to communication and what people ask me to help them with. I have an abundance of knowledge, cool, but I also have an ability to just, an aptitude to learn anything. An aptitude to learn anything. I swear to you, I could be a doctor. If I went to school, I'd be smarter than all those doctors. They're not smarter than me. They just decided to be professionals in that realm. But if I went to school for 8 years, whatever realm they're in, I could do that. I'm an electronic engineer by trade. I have a degree in electronic engineering. I have a degree in technical management, whatever the fuck that is. I have that degree as well. I'm a cyber expert for the NSA. Like, people don't understand. I was military intelligence for 12 years. I am not normal. So when I apply all that intellect to sports, it's a little different. It's shit people can't handle. And the best part about it, I can orally, boom, shoot it out fast. I can do everything everything you want to say, you want to formulate your thoughts and put it out there, I can actually do it in rapid succession. Without error. There's one guy telling me, Rico, can you make a video without any cuts? Why do you make all those cuts? I bet you do a lot of editing because you don't know how to talk. You got to make all those cuts. That's what a guy told me in a comment. I said, bro, come to my live stream. I talk 2-3 hours straight. Where are the mistakes at, bro? Where are all the cuts I need? It's all up here. I do the cuts because I've learned that if I don't do the cuts, I can't fit as much information in the video. There's too much air. There's too much dead time in between the comments and the pauses and the waiting and talking. Because I do talk very animated. And I do pause for effect. But if you do those little cuts, you can get so much more information in one video. About 40% more. I've actually tested it out. I'll tell a story and talk. It'll go 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Or I can do those cuts and get it in 3 minutes. I've actually done the research and the assessment because this is a profession for me. This is what I'm doing. We're taking over the world, y'all. One day at a time. But we're doing it. I promise you. We're going to be somebody. Wait till the season, bro. Wait till the season. Whew. Cannot wait. Can't wait. And also, did you buy into the LeBron hype? Most definitely. Yes, he was amazing. How are my Longhorns looking? Looking pretty damn good. How many group of 5 quarterbacks are NFL talents? This upcoming season, first and foremost, I need to see them play this year. Some guys that come to mind right away. Brantley at South Alabama. I don't want to miss any. Pratt at Tulane. Jalen kind of at Boise, but he's athletic. I'm going to keep him down. Pratt at Tulane there. Dylan Hopkins, no. I like him, but no. Austin Reed at Western Kentucky. I know I'm missing people just right off the top of the dome. Grayson McCall, I'm sorry. There's just too many for me to go through every single school in my head right now. I'm going through each state. I'm like, okay, there's Braxton Braylon, Tulsa. Love him. He's on the list. Yeah, there's a lot. Frank Harris, UTSA. What? He's probably at the top of my list. Boom. Almost blew that one. My cousin told me he thought Carmelo would be better than LeBron. The Syracuse run swayed his opinion. Yeah, I thought so too, Connor. Everybody loved what Carmelo was doing and how he did it. It was very close. OJ Mayo hype was real. Trying to tell y'all. He was funny too. Got caught using steroids and claimed they were in an energy drink he bought at a gas station, a bodega. Yep. You are very animated. I like it and part of your charisma. Thank you, Lord Bandy. I appreciate you. Is Deion Sanders more of an X's and O's coach or a great recruiter who needs a great X's and O's coach around him? Jason King, every head coach, with very few exceptions, are great organizers and leaders of men. Being an X's and O's coach means you're a coordinator, and that's not something I put on head coaches to do. Now, do they have to have an understanding of X's and O's? Yes. Does Deion Sanders have that understanding? Hell yes. He played football at the highest level and understands how to recognize formations, down and distance, read routes, do so many different things to play it at the highest level. Now, does he sit down and scheme offensive schemes that are advantageous for his team? No, that's not his role. That's not his role. So I don't know many head coaches that do. That's why you hire offensive coordinators and position coaches. So I think he's an amazing recruiter, leader of men, and organizer, and delegation of authority is essential to being successful. Like, look, I'm a senior leader in the Army. I was a first sergeant for 3 years. I'm currently a master sergeant in the Army. If you don't know, I'm in charge of a lot of people, if I want to be. And if I was to go out and lead 100 soldiers, I am not cleaning their weapons. Do I know how to clean their weapons? Yes. Have I cleaned weapons before? Yes. Am I going to sit there and clean every weapon and ensure they clean every weapon? No, I am not. I'm going to sit down with all the platoon sergeants and tell these E7s, these sergeants first class, and go, hey, you make sure those 30 guys get it done. You make sure those 30, and those 30. And then I sit back, and they'll come tell me when they're complete. It's a delegation of authority. It's decentralized leadership. You let them handle their echelons. Because you can only effectively lead 2 to 3 people. That's how it works in the Army and in society for the most part. Like if you're a supervisor of, like for us, we're broken up into teams. You have 3 people on each team, essentially. And then those 6 guys make up a squad. So now you have a squad leader. He's in charge of the squad, but his squad is broken up into 2 teams. But he only talks to the team leaders, theoretically. He should not be trying to micromanage every single person on the squad. He should be utilizing his E5s, his sergeants. But then the platoon sergeant should not be trying to lead his entire platoon. Nope. You effectively lead your squad leaders. Only those 3 or 4 guys. That's who you should have meetings with. That's who you should mentor. That's who you should be talking to. And then the first sergeant, I don't lead the whole formation and talk to every squad leader. No. I talk to those 4 platoon sergeants. 3 platoon sergeants, 4, whatever it is. I can only effectively lead and mentor those 3 or 4 people. And then I'm a first sergeant. I got a sergeant major. There's only 3 or 4 companies. He can only talk to 3 or 4 first sergeants. He ain't trying to run everything below him. You just keep delegating it down, and you can only effectively lead 3 to 4 people. It's a tiered effect. And if you haven't ever been a part of like a larger organization, you wouldn't grasp this concept. But a football team is essentially a large organization. And there's different departments and sections compartmentalized, and that's what you do. That's how you lead. So as a head coach, no, you sit down and you talk to your coordinators. And you let your coordinators go and talk to the position coaches. Now, yes, there's still a big meeting. I still have meetings all the time with everybody. I still have meetings and say NCOs, E5 and above, E6 and above, E7 and above. I want to see all the following people. I still do that. Certain echelons, I want to see everybody. But the day I'm sitting there in the weeds trying to teach one of my privates the X's and O's, it's not happening, bro. He needs to learn it from that E5 and E6. He needs to learn it from that first line leader. That's the way you develop subordinate leaders. That's how you identify who's going to be your replacement someday. These coaches need to inspire players to be reflections of them on the field, right? Your middle linebacker should be a reflection and an extension of your linebacker's coach and your defensive coordinator out there. The quarterback should be an extension of the offensive coordinator. But we need to have a unified front. You can never have the sides opposing. So what I'm saying is, you need a head coach that pushes his message down to these echelons, and no one ever argues amongst one another. You ever been to a board meeting? I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but let's say you're in a business, and you go to a board meeting, and one guy is there from each section, like a representative. There's somebody from the IT department. There's somebody from marketing. There's somebody from advertising. There's somebody from HR. There's somebody from security. There's somebody from all these different places. And the CEO is sitting at the center of the table. And he says, hey guys, we got a problem with finding new employees. We got a problem with HR. We can't find employees. And there's a dude at advertising goes, oh, that shit don't matter to me. That's cool. He ain't talking about us. We're good. And you find these people who go to the meeting and are only advocates for their section or their little subcomponent. That is cancer. The tightest people in the meeting need to be everybody at that table, not each individual group. I bring this up because I'm going to tell you there's loyalty to certain coaches, right? An example is Memphis. Memphis just had 6 wide receivers leave the team in the transfer portal because they fired the wide receivers coach. But what those players don't understand is their camaraderie and their cohesion in that wide receiver room is almost irrelevant. The real cohesion that needs to happen is at the upper echelon, meaning the wide receivers coach needs to be loyal to that offensive coordinator. And if you're not on the same page, you got to go because you're going to break up our team. We need everybody up here to be the tightest group. I say this all the time. My platoon sergeants all come to a meeting. You got one platoon sergeant going, my platoon's good. We're good. Don't worry about my 30 guys. We got it. And you got another platoon over here going, hey, guys, we need some help. We got to move this equipment. We got to do this. We got to be on guard. We got duty. And the other guy's going, oh, I ain't got nobody to help you. Because he's loyal to his people. And he's missing the point. He needs to be loyal to the people in this room. He needs to be loyal to the other platoon sergeants. That's how we succeed as an organization. You need to be loyal to the people in the room. I saw this dissension on Hard Knocks with the Cleveland Browns. They were all in a meeting, and you got your head coach up there, and they're talking about why guys aren't dressed for practice and all this shit. And everybody was opposing the head coach. Now, he sucked, but if you don't have it all together in that room, the players aren't going to get it done. So what I'm telling you guys, this long drawn out story about is I believe Coach Prime excels at ensuring all the leadership are in cohesion and on the same page. That is essential to succeeding. What you're teaching in those individual rooms, the X's and O's and how to do and how to play the game of football are not nearly as essential as the cohesion of your entity, of your coaching staff. That is way more important. Dissension within your ranks, that is detrimental to your success, 100%. Doesn't matter how good you are at X's and O's, if you aren't truly advocating for one another and truly selfless for one another, can't get down with you. And some of you guys at work know this. Some of you guys at work right now work with somebody who won't cover your shift, who don't give a shit about you, right? And maybe you're an upper level leader, maybe you're a supervisor, and you only care about your people, and you look at other supervisors and go, oh, that guy's inept. That guy's not as good as me. He or she is not as good as me. And then you have those conversations with your subordinates. You're like, well, I was at the meeting, and that idiot didn't know what they're saying, blah, blah. You're doing it wrong. Do not have loyalty to your subordinates. Have loyalty to your peers. That's how you succeed. The people who go in there and advocate for their individual soldiers, their individual employees, their section, oh my God, I crush those people because they misunderstood. Guys, you learn this. It's called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. There's a book on this. You can read it. You can go look it up. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And one of the major dysfunctions is this dissension from leaders. I think Coach Prime is really good at ensuring that doesn't occur on his staff. Whether he knows that that's what he's doing or it happens subconsciously, but I watch it on tape. I watch it in film. I watch it among the coaching staff. The coaching staff that I talk to, they do follow my channel. I do know who they are. And the players follow me as well. They've been in the chat before. I need people to understand what makes a team successful. And it's subordinate leaders who are in cohesion with each other. You don't want the wide receiver room talking shit about the tight end room. Or the quarterback's coach saying, well, look, guys, this is what we're doing. But, hey, like, I just got out of the meeting with the offense coordinator, and he said we got to do this. I don't agree with it, but this is what we got to do. No. You're being a player's coach. You're being cool. But what you're doing is you're undermining your leadership. You don't do it. You don't go and, hey, guys, I try to get us the day off, but coach said we got to do this. So, no, you go in there and you own the guidance. You own the guidance. I'll never forget it. I told all my guys they wanted to leave work early. They wanted to leave at 1300 one day, or 1500 one day, 3 p.m. And I told all the platoon sergeants, hey, we're not leaving till 6 p.m. today. We're not leaving till 1800. Go get your job done. And the platoon sergeants all looked at me and they said, roger that, first sergeant. They walked out my office. 2 of those guys went back to their platoons and said, listen up. We're not leaving till 1800 today. Get your ass back to work. And they owned the guidance. And sure, some of the players looked at them and some of the employees, the soldiers looked at them and they were pissed. And they were like, man, I thought you were going to go in there and get us some time off. I thought you were going to advocate for us so we can get out of here. And they didn't care. They said, nope, we're staying till 1800. That's my call. They own the guidance. One guy went back to his platoon and said, hey, guys, just got out of the first sergeant's office, and he's being a prick. He said we got to stay till 1800. You know, I tried to tell him we need to leave at 1500, but he didn't want to listen to me. So, hey, I guess we got to stay till 18. You know, he's in charge. I know I don't like it either, but here we are. So let's get back to work. Those guys didn't work nearly as hard. And that individual, dissension among his entire team, all those people never wanted to be a part of our organization. All those people never succeeded because they had a substandard leader. You guys got to remember this. Own your guidance. When you're told something and then you have to go tell somebody else bad news, own the bad news. Let it become, because if you don't own it, then it didn't even come from you. Then they don't even value it from you. Then what are you? You're just a conduit? You just, hey, by the way, I'm not important, but that guy, no, own it. And deal with the consequences of owning it. Because that's what I have to do at the highest echelon. I think Coach Prime is essential at ensuring his team understands his guidance. And all of his subordinate leaders are bought in. They're all in. There's not one coach underneath him undermining him and doesn't think he's great. I just want you guys to understand that. I want you guys to understand that mindset. Sorry for going on that long tangent about how the military works, but it's how I get down as a leader. And as if I was ever employed somewhere and in charge of everyone, I would thoroughly run that organization like they've never seen it. Like, I would be so efficient at improving their efficiency. I'm not a micromanager. I'm a very detail-oriented leader. And I believe Coach Prime has people around him that are detail-oriented. Remember that. Lazy people don't make it in college football. I don't see any lazy people over there. Trust me, those coaches, when they write me DMs and they talk to me, it's at some crazy-ass hours sometimes. That means they were working all day, and they didn't get back till late in the evening. I appreciate them. Sorry about that. Let's go back over here. The fact that you were able to grow your accounts the way you were during the offseason is remarkable. Once the season starts, it's going to be ridiculous. Thank you, Connor. I appreciate it. I didn't realize it was an offseason. It's in season for me, bruh. It's the transfer portal. That's my season. It's in season for me. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for recognizing the greatness. Any plans for Patreon or Discord? So Vince, I'm going to let somebody run a Discord server for us, for the channel, and anybody who comes into the live stream, they can just go watch it from there and MVP it. I know my brother has something similar. If you guys didn't know, my brother Morant's Rants, he talks stocks every single day on YouTube. He's a live streamer. He's been doing it for a couple years now. And his whole crew, somebody put together a Discord server. I'm sure somebody could do it and come in here and invite people to it. I don't have the energy right now. I am still active duty Army. I'm trying to retire, and I got a lot of paperwork to do during the day. So I'm not quite there. As far as Patreon goes, I haven't done it yet, and I don't have any content that is exclusive to Patreon right now. I've thought about it, but I'm not going there just yet. Maybe my picks can go to Patreon, but not this season. I told myself this whole football season, I'm going to be free for you guys. I'm not charging a thing. I'm going to be free. I'm doing high school film review for free, right? Maybe next season, I say, hey, $20, right? Something to that effect. But I'm doing high school film review, NFL draft picks, selections. I'm going to do picks. I do a lot of fight picks, and my fight picks are, what I get, 7 in a row? I got 7 in a row on Saturday. I started 0-2, and then I got the next 7 fights correct. My picking of fights, picking winners on fights, it's like over 90%. I don't want to ever tell people my picks because I think they use them for betting. And I don't want to sit here and let people make money off me. But for some reason, I kind of know what I'm doing. Just saying. Thoughts on Tanner Mordecai? Tanner Mordecai, for me, is a Heisman dark horse because I see Wisconsin winning 11 games. So, Tanner Mordecai and up to 11 games. Davey O'Brien, semifinalist? Former Oklahoma quarterback, transferred to SMU, played well, has all the right weapons at Wisconsin to be great. I love CJ Williams, a wide receiver. I want to say I like Paulding. I think Braylon Allen is a dark horse to win the Heisman. If they win 11 games, it'll be because Braylon Allen rushed for another 1,200, 1,300 yards, whatever it is. Last night I did a podcast. I did an interview on a podcast, The Rational Hour, with a guy named Ryan. He did an interview. He's a West Coast guy. It's an audio-only interview. It's on Apple. And I did this interview, and he asked me my top 5 Heisman Trophy favorites. And my number 5, I gave him Braylon Allen. I told him Braylon Allen. We discussed a bunch of games that we're excited about in the first 2 weeks. The games he wanted to know who I'm picking to win the game, who I think is going to win these games. And I made my picks, and I talked to him about things, and I told him why I was making my picks. And we just had these conversations. It was a pretty good show last night. So maybe I'll drop you guys the link and let you guys aware of it. I got to hear it first. I don't know how it turned out. But it's an audio-only podcast. I did an interview on it, and I think very highly of Luke Fickell and Wisconsin. So I'm excited for Tanner Mordecai. Do you think there is doping in college football? Yes, there's doping in college football. There's doping in every sport, but yes, there's doping in college football, immense amount. Any thoughts on what Mike Locksley has done at Maryland, and do you think the next step forward this season and challenge for the Big Ten East? So, is there a Big Ten East and West, or did they get rid of the divisions? Number 1. Number 2, for me, I think Mike Locksley's good. I think they're the 4th, 5th best team in the Big Ten. That's saying something. You know the top 3, so you're fighting for 4th with Iowa, Minnesota, not Purdue, but I'm missing one. Wisconsin, obviously. I think Wisconsin's a little better than Penn State. Nobody wants to say it. Nobody wants to admit it, but I think they are. And do you think they take the next step forward and challenge? No, I don't. I think they have a good team. They got Tyrese Chambers in the transfer portal, the number 1 wide receiver out of FIU. They have a good quarterback this year, but I think they peaked a little bit with talent, and I think they take a step back. But I still like them. I like everything they're doing. I like Loxley a lot. So it's just one of those teams. You're not going to be at the upper echelon. Very similar to Texas Tech. Very similar to Oregon State in that you're the 4th or 5th best team in your conference. You're constantly flirting with being a top 25 team, but you're not at that upper echelon. What can do it? The transfer portal can do it. If they can get some marquee players, some stellar players in the transfer portal, they can close that gap. But that's where I see them right now. It's not a bad place to be. Rico, what are your thoughts on Uncle Lou? Once again, somebody asked me that yesterday. I don't know who the F Uncle Lou is. Do you think there are PEDs in college football? Never repeat your question, ever. I will eventually get to it. Take your time and wait. What would need to happen this season for you to call Colorado's season a success and failure? So, Jason King, a success, absolutely nothing. I don't base the results on this season. The results of this season do not determine whether or not it's a success for me. For me, they're already a success. They've already changed the culture of the program. They've sold their tickets. They've done everything they need to do. For me, they're a success right now. Now, to be a failure, if they go out there and win no games, they're a failure. If there's dissension among the ranks, they're a failure. If players are entering the transfer portal mid-season, they're a failure. If they can't complete their recruiting classes, they're a failure. But I don't foresee any of that happening. I think they're a pretty resilient group of kids. I think they're winners. I think people need to understand there's not a player on that team, for the most part, there's not a player in that 2 deep that was 1-11 last year. None of these guys know what it is to be 1-11. They don't know what it is. They're not the same kid. The guys you're talking about are all at the FCS level or scattered around at these other schools. Not the Colorado players next year are not the guys that you think they are. I think they are going to beat TCU. I think they're going to beat TCU. Or they're not losing by 20. Let's go, Rico. What up? What do you think of the German linebacker that just committed to Bama? Don't know him, Andy. Don't give a shit about any recruits. Don't care if he committed to your living room. Like, I don't care. He could change his mind tomorrow and never go to Bama. And if he goes to Bama, he might never play for Bama. 20 guys just hit the portal from Bama this offseason. 20. All 20 of those guys, you asked about them. On some message board, on some chat room, in some comment. All 20 of those guys, you were, oh, what about this guy? What about this guy? What about this? Who gives a shit about these guys? They're not on the field. They're not in the 2 deep. He's not concerned with recruits. Thank you very much. Adesanya or Duplessis? That's a ridiculous question. I don't like Adesanya at all, but Duplessis is not a good fighter. Thoughts on Dean Ingram? Where's he at? Where's he at? Dean Ingram's still in the portal? Did he commit somewhere? Where is he at? If you guys don't know, Dean Ingram is the son of Bobby Ingram, former offensive coordinator at Wisconsin. Dean Ingram moved from defense to offense to play for his father. Bobby Ingram, former NFL football player. And Dean Ingram hit the portal, and I never saw where he signed. Just out there. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. What's going on? Did he go back to school? Is he somewhere else? Let me know. The problem with Maryland is you can't keep the good talent at home, and you can't bring the 4 stars out of Florida and Georgia. I think the very big problem with Maryland is there are 3 teams in their conference that recruit nationally. That's the real problem. The real problem is there are 3 teams in their conference that are elite. Chaz Crawford should have never switched to wide receiver. Dean Ingram should never switch to wide. No shit. Shout out to you guys. Do you need PEDs to be successful in Power 5 football, especially D-line? Thanks for sharing. No, BJ, no. No, that's absurd. No. Do you think Boston College makes a bowl game this year? I got Boston College winning 2 or 3 games. What are we talking about? Hellfree's going to get fired. It doesn't matter how they do. Hellfree's getting fired. And Boston College lost. They better beat UConn. You can't lose to UConn 13-3. Boston College offense was the worst I've seen. When I watched film, I read every route from Zay Flower. I knew every single play because the offense was elementary. That offense was high school or worse. That offense was not good. I'm not excited about it. What do you think about Dylan Gabriel this upcoming year if he can't stay healthy? Jackson Arnold stepping in. So, El Nino, in my interview last night on the podcast at the Rational Hour with Ryan, he asked me about Dylan Gabriel. And I told him he's a stopgap. Because the best 5-star quarterback coming out of high school last year was Jackson Arnold. The very best quarterback coming out of high school was Jackson Arnold. I think he's a stud, an absolute monster. If he's not starting by the end of the year, it's because Dylan Gabriel played good, which is great, because then he can redshirt. But if he has to play, I think he's a stud. I like Jackson Arnold a lot. So that's where we're at. Hey, guys, thanks for talking with me. Thanks for the show tonight. I hope I answered all your questions. I just want to remind you guys that this show is only possible when you guys ask questions. We can only come out here and have a good time when you guys show up in numbers and ask me questions. I talk about what's trending for the day, and then I do a Q&A as long as you guys want to ask me questions. Thank you for all that you do. Just remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Shout out to you.
I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off of sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a thing. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.